Well, it's been a disappointing start to the season for the St. Louis Blues. After one quarter mark of the season, they are 7-10-6. For a lot of reasons, they aren't where they thought they'd be. They aren't where a lot of Blues fans thought they would be at this point. So, which players have performed poorly so far? Which players have stood out despite the struggles? And what grade does each Blues player deserve one quarter of the way through the season? It's time for a tiers list of all the Blues players and some personnel as well. All that and more on this episode of Note News. It's John and Alec back with you as always. We're a St. Louis Blues podcast. We go live twice a week talking all things blues. Um, and today we're around a quarter of the way through the NHL season. And so I figured it would be a good time to do a tiers list. And so that's what we'll do. And if anyone is not familiar with the concept, we have, I believe, 5 tiers is how we'll be grading players. From S is the best, A, B, C, D is the worst. And so I have a feeling it's not going to be as fun as it usually is, with a lot of good players in the mix. But you know what? We'll power through it. Also, I apologize if there's any network issues. I think having a difficult time with the internet right now, so bear with us as we work through that. But Alec, how you feeling? 25% of the way, give or take, a couple games through the season here.
Not good. Not great. It's been a disappointing season. It's been, to say the least. It's been a tough watch too. It hasn't just been close losses. They've been getting kind of demolished in a lot of ways. I think they've had some good performances as of late, winning a game against the Islanders and playing competitively against the Rangers, and then taking their other game this week to overtime. Uh, I think they've been putting up a much better fight. And if this was the brand of hockey that they had started out the year with, that they would be in a much better place than they are right now. But, the year has gone how it's gone. I still don't think they're out of it. I'm still holding out hope that they can turn it around. But at this point, it is just, it does seem more so that it's hopeful thinking rather than something that's going to happen. And yeah, I think the grades today will be pretty illuminating as to what's going on the team. There's been a lot of individual failures, unfortunately. So
Mm-hmm.
um, let's we can discuss all that we have.
Yeah, speaking big picture, it does kind of feel like they're maybe starting to level out a little bit. Time will tell if it's too little too late. But like you said, got a win against the Islanders, a couple more overtime losses last week, and then a loss to the New York Rangers. Um, they did feel like more competitive games lately. Still some disappointing moments and all that. That's goes without saying. But seems like they're playing a little bit more competitively. Hopefully that trend continues and um, they start to get some 2 point results and win some more games. But time will tell if, like I said, if it's just too late. You said you're not out on the team yet. I would like to not be, although I did come on here last episode and say that I was out on the playoff hopes. Part of that is I'm hoping that will make them turn it around. But anyways, yeah, like you said, I think there will be some interesting discussions to have around some of these players today. So why don't we go ahead and get into it? There's a lot to discuss, and let's waste no time here. I'm going to share on our screen the tiers list. So if you're listening on audio and would like to see what we're doing, you can always find us on YouTube. Which, by the way, if you haven't already, we'd appreciate if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the best way to help us out. Like this video and then follow us and give us ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple. And we're on socials as well: Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at NoNewsPod. So we got our list here today. There are a couple players that I have not included on here. I think the only ones I haven't that have played games for the Blues are Hunter Skinner and Alexander Texier. I felt like those are two that we didn't quite have to do. So yeah, I mean, if any Blues fans haven't heard the news, Texier and the Blues have parted ways. They agreed to terminate his contract, and he signed a 1 year deal with the Montreal Canadiens. So the Texier experiment is over. That's maybe something we can discuss in the future a little bit more in depth. But like I said, let's not waste any time and go ahead and get into the tiers. We're going to go in alphabetical order, and we're going to do our best to come to as close to a consensus as we can get with each of these players and personnel. So why don't we just go ahead and start at the top of the list with Jordan Binnington? It feels like this is a tricky one, and one where most seasons we'd be putting him in a pretty solid spot, but goaltending has been a big issue for the Blues. So Alec, what are you thinking with Jordan Binnington and his performance so far this year?
I'm not thinking very highly of Washington's performance this year. It's been not keeping the team in games, not giving them a chance to win. There's been more bad than good, but there's been, as of late, it seems like he's starting to settle in with back-to-back good starts. Finally getting going on the season. It only took, 20 games or so to get there. But I'm thinking probably back end of C tier, maybe, just because there has been a little bit of good. But I would hear a case for D tier as well.
Yeah, I I know that there have been flashes of good, and I think lately that's been more the case than the beginning of the season for sure. I think he's sort of like the team has started to stable out a little bit. Um, but I just can't get past like his goals saved above expected, which no, we don't really have a like one size fits all great metric to measure goalies with. But goals saved above expected is about as close as you can get to a decently reliable goalie stat. He is fourth worst in the league right now, behind Linus Olmark, Caden Primo, and Sam Montembeau. And I think he's been down there all year. And despite those good performances, I think there has been enough bad that I would argue D tier. But the Blues have won 5 of his games. Um, his record is I think 5-5-4, so not horrible, But I still think I got to go D tier with Benner.
Let's put him in D tier and see how it sorts out.
Yeah. We can definitely shuffle these around as we get going. So, all right, we've got Benner in D tier. Hopefully, we're going to try to do this with each quarter of the way through the season, and hopefully we get some players migrating up the list as we go. Next, we've got Nick Bjugstad. So one of the free agency acquisitions for the Blues comes over from, I guess, now the Utah Mammoth, and slots in as a bottom six center. I think he's played only center, right? I don't think we've seen him at wing really quite yet this year. He can play both, but I think he's mostly been playing bottom six center, if memory serves. He's got 4 goals and 1 assist, so 5 points. I think he's been fine. I don't think he's been a big issue. Like a lot of what's going wrong with the Blues, I don't think is because of Bjugstad necessarily. Um, he hasn't been standout either. So I think maybe C tier, maybe D tier. I don't know. What are you thinking?
I just feel like he hasn't really had an impact on the team.
Sure.
And I I think Matt in the chat makes a interesting point that he never should have been signed. I don't know about never, but like definitely his fit with the team has not really worked out.
Yeah.
and has not gone the Blues way or Bukestad's way. It seems like that 1 year in Utah, or was it Utah at that point, was
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Last year.
total outlier,
Or
where
yeah, I guess 2 years ago would have been Arizona.
yeah, yeah. Um, anyways, so Bukestad isn't really offering much offensively, but I will say defensively he's doing okay. It seems like he's not getting beat a lot of the time. Um, he does have 10 penalty minutes, which is tied for fourth most on the team, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, which isn't great for a bottom six center. Um,
Yeah,
this is a tough one.
I wouldn't be opposed to D tier. I mean, like you said, he hasn't really made an impact, and this was like we had kind of hoped he'd be more middle six, score 15 to 20 goals, and he's not necessarily like not on track to do that. Like I think he's on pace for around 16, but I wouldn't be opposed to D tier. Do you
Yeah,
want to drop him there for now?
I think that's fine. He just doesn't play a lot of minutes.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And to Matt's point, like I don't know if I would say never should have never been signed. Like knowing what we know now about what this team is and isn't quite capable of, at least so far, it could wind up having been a not like a huge mistake because it's not like you're paying him a lot, but like they kind of added around the periphery and maybe should have looked to solidify their younger core. So he's he can be a useful piece. Like it's more of a finishing touch on a team that has a lot of other things figured out. And I don't know if knowing what we know now, the Blues are quite in that position. Um, all right, next up we got Philip Broberg, who is my guy, and I'm a big Philip Broberg fan, as all of our regular listeners know. Points wise, hasn't done a ton so far this year. He's got 2 goals and 6 assists, but I think what's been more impressive for Broberg is the ice time he's seeing. He is averaging 23 minutes and um, 13 seconds of time on ice. And I'm looking for some of his recent games here now. It's been getting up there in recent games, his ice time. So played against New York, played 21 minutes. That's like his lowest ice time in a long time. Played 27 minutes and 58 seconds against the Islanders. 26 minutes and 7 seconds in the previous game, 26 minutes and 14 seconds in the game before that. Like he is being deployed as a top pair defenseman, and I think he is living up to it personally. And he is not a like point producer type of player. He's more of a pace of play type of player. He's a really good play driver. So I won't hear anything below a B for Broberg personally. I would personally put him higher.
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of leaning. I mean, I don't think we're going to have a lot of S tiers. I feel like just for the sake of the tier list, we have to have some S tiers, and I think Broberg has earned it more than anyone else. I mean, he's been the team's best defenseman. It's him and Pareko, and Broberg's taken on the minutes and has absolutely been triumphing in his minutes. Like you said, on the point sheet, isn't like lighting it up, but he's still relative to the team. 8 points puts him what, fourth in points on the team. I
Not
mean,
quite. I think it puts him. Um, we're looking at like 10th uh, on the team.
am I looking at the same thing?
I don't know.
Well, regardless. Um, regardless. Um,
I mean, you're not going to hear
still,
me complain about putting Broberg S tier, so like I won't push back.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think Broberg has not been the problem with the Blues at all this year, and has
Yeah,
actually shined in his ice time. Has been given a bigger role as a 24-year-old defenseman, and looks great doing it. So
Hmm.
I like Broberg in S tier.
I'm thrilled to hear that. I mean, like you said, there's probably not going to be a lot of S tier guys today. And when you bake in like expectations into this recipe, like I think there are some guys like Broberg who, I mean, I personally and a lot of Blues fans like already had high expectations for, but to see him like blossom into this top pair guy and just really live up to having that spot, I've been at this point shouldn't be surprised with Broberg, but like I've been kind of pleasantly surprised to see him perform so well in such an important role. So I'm here for it. All right, Pavel Buchnevich, I think we can drop in the bottom of D. Like, is there any discussion here? I mean, he's been probably the most disappointing player.
Yeah.
There's between
Yeah.
him and one other.
Yeah. I mean, we had said coming into the season that this was a huge year for Buchnevich to finally prove himself as a um as a like real contributor on this team, and
Hmm.
prove that he was worth the contract, and it has gone the exact opposite way. He has not lived up to it. He has not um,
Yeah,
found a way to be productive, and it's not looking good for Buchnevich in his career trajectory right now. So
yeah.
no argument for me.
And look, I mean, I I'm still rooting for the guy. You know, I want him to turn it around. But yeah, I agree. It's been bleak this season for Buchnevich. All right. Dalibor Dvorsky called up when Jake Neighbors was injured and brought a bit of a spark to the team. Didn't last super long for the team as a whole, but I think Dvorsky has been trusted to take on some big responsibilities. He's been a middle six center pretty consistently. He's taken a lot of faceoffs, even in the defensive zone. Uh, got a wicked shot that he has used on the power play to score a couple goals. I feel like Dvorsky, like again, when you consider expectations, I'm thinking A tier for Devo right now.
Yeah, I was thinking A tier too. The only thing that's giving me pushback is just the amount of games that he's played. If he's done enough to earn A tier
Hmm.
level, but I mean Dvorsky is quickly becoming one of my favorite players on the team. So like Broberg for you, you'll hear no argument for me if you want to put Dvorsky in A tier. Um, because he has absolutely taken his minutes, taken his chances, and ran with them. That you really, this is a guy who has so many intangibles about the game that can be so hard to translate or can take so long to get there, and instead it's all coming in the NHL immediately. Like you see the hockey IQ on display, you see the playmaking, you see him excelling on a line with the olds with Shen and Buchnevich, two of the, maybe spoilers, maybe the other guy who's been just a black hole this season.
Hmm.
Um, that Dvorsky able to succeed in that role is nothing to scoff at. And I think that him doing what he's been doing, given his age, given his expectations, I think is absolutely cause for um, excitement. And yeah, I like Dvorsky in A tier, but I can understand if you wanted to put him in B tier.
I like A. I think I mean you mentioned the games played. He's played 13, so like he's played about half of their games. A little bit more so, more than half. Um, and I think beyond just point production, like the role that he has been trusted to play and the fact that he has pretty much lived up to that role, I think he's earned it. Um, so yeah, I think I feel pretty solid about that one. All right, this is an interesting one. We got Justin Falk up next, our second defenseman here. Justin Falk like is having a good year so far. I have been
He
really
is.
pleased with him, and would have hoped that this would have coincided with a better team performance, and not, you know, a really rough year so far. He's got six goals and 7 assists. He's tied with Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou for the lead in points on this team. I like. Is it crazy to put Falk in S tier so far? I think he's at least A tier. He has been pretty good, and I think in a season where they might have to end up trading him, this is exactly how you'd hope he would play. So, am I too high on Justin Falk here? I've been really impressed.
I think he's A tier. I think the defense is still holding him back a little bit because he's just not offering anything defensively. Um,
Hmm.
and that's a big part of, what being a defenseman is. So I think A tier is fair, but
Hmm.
I'm still super impressed, like you said, super impressed with what he's done and
Yeah,
what he's shown so far, and he's having a career year for sure. Um, so
yeah.
I like A tier for Falk.
Do you think above Dvorsky? Because I think in terms he's played every game, he's played a lot of minutes, and he's produced a lot of
I
points.
do, yeah.
Okay, cool. So far, we're on the same page here. So, all right, now we got Cam Fowler, his pair mate for much of the year. Fowler obviously signed a big extension in the offseason, and kind of got demoted, but I think maybe it's more so Broberg getting promoted to handle some big minutes. He doesn't have any goals so far, but he does have 9 assists. So he's helped the team produce at times. I am like if Justin Falk wasn't having such a good year, I would be surprised that Cam Fowler doesn't see more time on the power play. Um, but I'm thinking Fowler is he hasn't been like god awful. Like he hasn't been as transformative as he was last year. But I'm thinking like a C for Fowler. I could hear like D, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I like C.
Cool.
Because he's getting points. He is still getting those primary and secondary assists. He's got 9 of them on the season. So he's still offering something to the team. Um, and the thing about Fowler is the way that he plays, he's able to like he is still a really good passer and still really good at generating offense in the offensive zone,
Hmm.
where he's most dangerous. So I like C for Fowler.
Sweet. Sounds like we're on the same page there again. Okay, Joel Hofer. I think if we put Bennington in D, Joel Hofer has to go in D as well. He's been a
Yeah.
um, another issue with this team. I would probably put him between Bukestad and Buchnevich. What do you think of that?
Um, yes, I think that
Cool,
makes sense.
cool. Yeah, just not a season that you would hope to be getting out of Joel Hofer. He has played 11 games. He started 10 of them. His record is 2-5-2, an 869 save percentage, and a goals allowed average of 382. So not great, and he is eighth lowest in goals saved above expected. So not great for Joel Hofer. Hopefully he can. I mean, with all these guys, I feel like we've been saying it. Hopefully he can turn it around. But um, yeah, not much more to add there. All right, what about Matty Joe? Matthew Joseph, the Mojo Man himself, had I think an impressive start to the year in my opinion. Like points wise, isn't doing like anything crazy. He's got 2 goals and 4 assists. Um, but for a while, I felt like he was playing with the most compete on the team, and like was driving some play pretty well. So I'm thinking like a C maybe for Matthew Joseph, maybe even B. I think he's cooled off a little bit in terms of like some of the value he's brought, but um, I kind of like what he's done this year.
Yeah, earlier in the season, this definitely would have been a B for me, but I think the points you'd like to see that a little bit higher. And
Sure,
defensively, he's still been great. He's still been doing Matthew Joseph things on that side of the
sure.
puck, um, and that's where I could hear the argument to keep him in B tier. But I
Hmm.
think I like C tier for Matthew Joseph, and but
Sure.
it's like a good C tier. It's like it's a respect to a bottom sixer.
Yeah,
Um, should he maybe even go above Fowler?
sure. I mean, I think he was playing like one of the better players on this roster for a long enough period that I'm okay with that. Um, okay, Matthew Kessel. I mean, hasn't seen a ton of minutes. He's been deployed on the third pair, but he's played 13 games. He's got a goal. Um, he had one game that was like pretty good. Like I remember seeing one of those hockey stat cards, and I was like, oh, like he was his minutes were solid. But I don't know. Still hasn't done a whole lot. Not like you can really ask for much, a whole lot more from your third pair guy. That's so young. But what are you thinking on Kessel so far this year?
There's not a lot there to work with. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's hard to put him outside of D tier for me.
sure.
Um, just because there hasn't in his minutes he hasn't really shown a lot of good. It hasn't really been all bad, but it really hasn't been good either. And if there's no good on tape, it's kind of hard for me to make an argument for you to be anything other than D tier, which is our lowest tier.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. All right, Jordan Cairo. As I mentioned a couple minutes ago, he's tied for the team lead in points. He's got 6 goals and 7 assists. By the way, there is a one, two, three, four-way tie for the team lead in goals between Justin Falk, Jordan Cairo, Pius Suter. No, five-way tie. Excuse me. Falk, Cairo, Suter, Holloway, and Neighbors. It's pretty funny.
Holloway
But
got up there. Wow.
yeah, he's had a good couple games lately. Okay, but let's see. Kairu, 13 points, 6 goals, 7 assists. And I think the story around him is that he continues to be a better and better defensive player. Obviously, had the healthy scratch, and that's because he wasn't being. I think this is in Monty's words. It's like the role you want Kairu to play is that he is like threatening the other team with his speed and his skating ability. Like you want him to make them uncomfortable, and they just kind of weren't seeing enough of that out of him. And that's why he got benched is because he has a role to play on this team, and it's not that he was playing poorly. It's just that they wanted him to play to his role. That's at least that's what they have said about it. I don't think it was warranted still, but he came back and had a solid few games. I think the 200-foot aspect with Kairu, paired with he's still generating a decent amount. I'm with Matt in the chat. I think he's an A at minimum. I would even hear S tier, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Jordan Kairu.
Yeah, I want to make the case for Kyrie to be S tier. Because I mean, first of all, because I want to have more than one person in the S tier. Um, but I want like I really think he's been the solid rock of this team. But I think kind of like Matthew Joseph, when you get into um like when you get into how they played at the start of the very start of the season versus how they're playing now, I think that Kyrie is also kind of cooled off a bit. And
Hmm.
you'd really like to see that goal scoring and that consistent offense coming from Kyrie. And he's been demoted from playing less minutes, which is less opportunities to score, you could argue, but he hasn't really been doing well in those minutes as of recent games too. I think it's got to be top of A tier for me. Personally, I think I would keep him out of S tier, but I'm willing to hear the argument for it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think despite all of that good, you're still not seeing him do what he does best, and that's score. So at least not as much as he should be. Um, I don't think that all falls on him per se. But yeah, no, I'm comfortable with top of A for Kairu. How funny is it going to be when we have only Philip Broberg in S tier? It's pretty note news of us. All right, next up we got maybe the
maybe
most
one
polarizing,
player.
huh? Maybe
No,
so.
nothing. We'll get there.
Maybe so. Maybe the most polarizing player of this season so far. We have up next. It's Logan Mailloux, acquired in exchange for Zach Bolduc over the summer, and has been a dud so far. Got demoted, sent down to AHL Springfield. I think he had 2 assists in 5 games, if I recall correctly, and has been called back up.
He had
um,
goals. I think it was 2 goals.
was it 2 goals?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Anyways, 2 points. I know it was only 2 points in 5 games. And yeah, has been called back up. So I don't know that we can make an argument for anything other than D, and I think he's down there with Buchnevich,
Yep.
maybe even below.
I think below.
Yeah, it's been rough for Mayu. I still am holding out hope that I mean this is going to be we've talked about this so much. This is going to be a long term evaluation for Logan Mayu, and I think there's still enough there that I can be optimistic about, but it has not been great so far, I will admit. Um, all right, we got Jake Neighbors up next, and I think for the first few games of the year was like tracking to be the top of S tier kind of guy for the Blues, and obviously got injured and missed a few weeks, but was leading the and still does at least he's tied for the team lead in goals now with 6, and he also has 2 assists to pair with that. And that's only in 13 games again, so he hasn't played all 23 games that the Blues have so far. But he's been great. I think he's, like Matt in the chat just said, has been kind of the heart and soul for this team, especially early on. So I'm thinking A tier at least for Neighbors. What are your thoughts?
Is there a case for Neighbors to be S? I'm just kind of thinking out loud. Um,
I don't know that, and it's not his fault that he got injured, but like I don't know that we can say S tier. Just I don't know. I don't know. If you want to make the case, I'd love to hear it.
in the limited sample size, which admittedly has been limited because he got injured, um, he's still been the best player, like bar none, for the Blues. Um, and I find it hard, I guess, to fully get that out of my mind that the best player on the Blues isn't, or who has been the best player, arguably, isn't S tier. Um, and yeah, like the injury did suck and is a definitely a ding against him. But in his time that he's playing, he's still been the heart and soul, as Matt in the chat says, of the team. Um, I don't know. I think there's a case, but I think I'm also okay with him being in A tier. But he's got to be top of A tier then.
I feel comfortable maybe putting him in bottom of S. I think you make a good point in that in his minutes, while limited, they have been really great. So I'm good with that. I'm hoping he can start to get on another heater here and make that a for sure thing. All right, Colton Parayko, the Blues, at least nominally, the Blues' top defenseman. So far this year has no goals, but he does have 7 assists. He, in my opinion, is a lock for Team Canada in the Olympics. I don't think there's enough Canadian defensemen better, and I think he fits what they need. But that's neither here nor there. How has he done for the Blues so far this year? I'm thinking. I mean, like, look, you probably need him given his player profile and his capability and what we saw him do under Montgomery last year. You probably need him to score a few more goals than he has been. Um, but he's still been playing big minutes, and I think like for the most part has looked like he is outplaying his opponent in those minutes, and so I would put him in B tier. What do you think?
No argument for me. I think B tier makes the most sense. I think he's been a very steady defenseman on this team, one that they've really needed, and I think B tier is the right fit.
Awesome. All right, Braden Shen, someone you mentioned a few minutes ago as I think you said black hole was the word you used. He's got 4 goals and 4 assists. Um, Eight, he has been kind of I wouldn't say demoted because I think he's more of a natural winger anyway, but has been kicked out to the wing with sort of the arrival of Dalibor Dvorsky. Um, I think he's had a good couple games lately, but where do you think he belongs? Um, I think I could like it seems like you might think he belongs in D tier. I am kind of leaning C. So what are your thoughts on Shen?
I gotta say, the stat line is better than I thought it was. I guess it just feels like watching him, he's just been offering nothing. It feels like he's offered nothing to the team night after night, and it's sitting in a better place than I admittedly thought it was. So
Hmm.
I think I'm okay with bottom of C tier, but Shen has been kind of a tough watch. Like in his minutes, he's definitely getting beat a lot more than he's helping the team. His physical style of play
Yeah.
isn't really what the team needs right now, isn't really helping progress that. And yeah, I think that um, for those reasons that I could make an argument for D tier, but I'll hear C.
Yeah, I'm good with bottom of C for sure. All right, let's keep on moving. Another young guy. We got Jimmy Snuggerud, Alex pick for the Calder Trophy. It's been maybe not quite the campaign we were hoping for so far, but it hasn't been bad. He
It's
has
still
not been.
possible.
It's still possible. Yeah, there's a lot of hockey left for an individual performance to stand out for sure. I think he's probably keeping up enough to where if he really goes on a heater for a while, he can work his way into that conversation. But dude, Matthew Schaefer looks so good. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really hard to beat him. Um, but he's tied for second in points on the team. I mean, he's been pretty solid. He's got 5 goals and 6 assists. So he has not been a one trick pony. We know the shot is great. We know he can generate offense that way. But we've been pleasantly surprised this year to see that he is a really great playmaker as well. And so to see him sort of playing alongside Robert Thomas, I've really enjoyed it. I think A tier for Snug. You might think S tier, Alec, just knowing you. But what are
Yeah,
your
no,
thoughts?
I mean, I just love watching Jimmy Snuggerud so much. I do want to put him in S tier selfishly. I think that A tier is probably correct. Um, unfortunately, but I mean, you want to talk about electrifying a lineup and bringing offense in any way that he can. He's tied for
Sure.
um, either second or fourth, however you want to put it, in points
Yeah.
on the team with 11, and is just behind the goals lead at 5, and probably could have had more too. He's just missed on a couple that's been really tough, but um, I'm totally here for Snuggerud being S tier, although I think A tier is probably correct, unfortunately. Um, just because I think he's been so much fun to watch play, and the way that he plays is just so electrifying uh, that makes it so, I don't know, exciting. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think it's probably A tier.
I'm thinking between Falk and Devo, just because of the production you're getting out of Kairu and Falk right now. What do you think?
Um, yeah, but you could even go above Falk. but Falk's having a really good season. Yeah, I think between Falk and Devo is right.
Okay, cool. All right, next up, Oscar Sundquist. I mean, I don't really have a lot to say. I think he's probably around where Nick Bjugstad is personally. Although there was a stretch there where he was one of the best like points getters for a little bit, and I mean he's tied for second most assists on the team with 9, trailing only Robert Thomas. And so like he hasn't been bad. I mean like it's just it is what it is with Oscar Sundquist at this point, you know. So I mean, I'm kind of thinking around Nick Bjugstad. I think, given the type of player he is and the expectations for him, there could be a case for C tier, just because of those 9 assists. But I don't really know. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think right above Bukestad is right. D tier for Sonny. He just again doesn't really win his minutes when he's on the ice.
That's fair. All right, Pius Suter, who was the big free agent acquisition for the Blues this offseason, signed in free agency, was probably one of the best centers that actually reached free agency and wasn't extended with his current team, if not the best. Tied for second in points, or I guess fourth, if you want to say it that way, since there's a 3-way tie at the top. He's got 6 goals and 5 assists, so tied for the team leading goals as well. In a season where a lot has gone wrong, I don't really think Pius Suter has been one of those things. I think the fit has been like a glove for this guy. Not that I personally expected any less. I mean, he's so like so adaptable and just such a useful player. Like I really like this guy, and it really pains me that this is the year that he slots in with the Blues while they're struggling right now. So I'm hoping that he survives what might be a selling year, and we get to see maybe they try to rack it back up and hopefully have a better year next year with Suter in the fold. But anyways, that's a conversation for another day. But Pius Suter, I mean, I think A tier, maybe even S tier for this guy, just because, like I said, the fit has been so good.
The fit has been really good. You'll have to make the case for S tier for me, because I'm definitely on the A tier. I think above
Mm,
Snuggerud is probably where I would put him.
yeah.
But I I agree with everything you said that he's just been such a perfect fit for the team and what they're trying to do. And the way that he's been playing has been like so hard and so competitive. That's been so fun to watch. So
Hmm.
a bright spot on a team of sadness.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think the realistic view is kind of what you're saying, like between Falk and Snug on in the A tier. But I guess just like as a middle six guy to see him produce as much as he has, like I assumed that he would play well and he would look good. I just did not expect him to to score as much as he has and produce as much as he has. So that would be my case for S tier, but I feel fine with A tier if that's where you're gonna put him.
That's where I would put him.
All right, let me slot him in there. Um, okay, Robert Thomas is up next. I like look. He's leading the team in points. He's got 13. He's got 3 goals and 10 assists. But like, am I being too harsh if I say like B tier for Robert
I was
Thomas? Like,
thinking B tier too.
okay, I mean, I think you just have to have more. Like, out of your, this is supposed to be kind of your franchise guy, um, and it hasn't been what you had hoped it would be for him this year. Like, I think there are some leadership questions around him right now. I'm not one of the ones like really hammering that button personally, but I think given the expectation, given the responsibility that is on his shoulders and the role he's supposed to play for this team, I don't think he's lived up to it.
Yeah, I agree. I have nothing to add. It's
I would
about
put him above
expectations
Pareko.
and Yeah, I would also put him above Pareko,
Cool.
but it's about expectations, and he has failed in a lot of them.
Yeah. Um, okay. As Matt in the chat pointed out, I goofed in uploading these headshots, and it looks like Dylan Holloway did not get uploaded. So we'll just verbally place him now. So thanks to Matt for calling that one out. Um, we'll be sure to add that later on when we post this to our socials. But let's go ahead and do Dylan Holloway. Um, like I said a couple minutes ago, tied for the second most points on the team. He's got 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points. He obviously had that injury that he was sidelined with late last year, and has come back and hasn't had to miss any time with it yet. But I think the start has been a little slow. I think part of that is probably because of the injury. But I feel like he has started to heat up lately, and so it might just be recency bias. But I'm not feeling that low on Holloway. I would put him at a B tier right now. Um, but I could hear a case for lower, just knowing what he's capable of, scoring wise. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's B or C for Holloway. I'm curious, Matt, in the chat, you saying you think he's a D tier or C minus to round up. I'd be curious to hear your case for that because he is leading this team in goals and he is second in points. Like he's been producing better than most on the team so far. Um, and like you said, it's been mostly recent. And I think that it's if we did this list, when Matthew Joseph would have been higher and Jordan Kyrie would have been higher, Dylan Holloway would have been a lot lower for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
given the totality of the season so far, I like B or C for him. Probably I don't know, just thinking relative to like when I think relative to the rest of the team, I like Holloway better than Matthew Joseph and Cam
Yeah,
Fowler and Braden Shen, who all round out our C tier.
yeah.
Do I like him better than Colton Parayko? Probably not. So like right on that fringe of end of B or top of C.
I like bottom of B. I think he's still done what he's supposed to do in that he is scoring like a decent amount. Like 6 goals is um, fine at this point in the season. Like it's solid. I think bottom of B. I'm not feeling too unkind to Holloway right now, personally.
Okay.
All right, Torpchenko, not a huge factor for this team really at all. He's got a goal and an assist.
The Torpo meter has not been raising.
The Torpo meter has been very quiet this year. I'm thinking, excuse me, I'm thinking maybe below Hofer and above Kessel for Torpo, but I could hear a case for lower if you'd like.
Yeah, definitely D tier, and I think that's fair.
Cool. Um, he's got he's got that one assist over Matt Kessel. They both have a goal, but Torpo's got the assist, so we'll give him that. Tyler Tucker, another third pairing guy. He's got a goal and 3 assists. Been playing those third pair minutes. Hasn't really gotten a lot of minutes. We've seen the top four get deployed really heavily so far this year. Again, like when you consider expectations, like it's hard to ask for a lot more from your 25-year-old third pairing defenseman. I think I mean I like Tux and I like um, what he brings, but like I don't know that I can say anything above like I guess the highest I would say is bottom of C for Tucker, but I don't know. What do you think?
I think Tucker has brought a level of energy to this team that can't necessarily be quantified.
Hmm.
That I'm actually kind of higher on Tucker. I think that he's played pretty well defensively, all things considered, and he's taken a ton of penalty minutes, but a lot of that's from fights.
Yeah.
which have brought like energy that this team has needed. So
Hmm.
I kind of like Tucker. Um, we could put him C tier, but I would put him above Shannon Fowler at least.
I don't know if I'd go that far. Just like just point production wise, like those guys are just bringing more to the table. In my mind, I think you make a good case for Tucker,
All right.
but I think in my mind, like the best that places him is bottom of C right now, and like it's not a bad C. Like it's just um, I think it might not be 100% his fault, but there's a reason why they're having to use their top four defensemen so much, and it's just because there's a lot of inexperience down there.
Hmm.
Are you okay with bottom of C?
All right. I hear your point.
All right, next up we got the Honey Badger, Nathan Walker. He's got 3 goals, 4 assists, so 7 points, and is obviously still a fourth line guy. Um, this is your guy. This is your boy. Let's hear what you think so far.
I think Nathan Walker hasn't really had a chance to show out, but I mean, well, he's played 22 games. I guess I just haven't noticed him. And I
I
think
feel
that
like
kind of is
he's
telling about
yeah.
how his
I
season's
guess
going
like
so far.
in terms of what you'd expect from him, which is like the Honey Badgerness. You haven't seen a ton of that, but like has am I wrong? I know he's had at least one game winning goal. Let me see where he ranks. I guess just he just has the one game winning goal, but like I feel like he's had some. While he's only got 3 goals, like there have been some higher leverage ones. It feels like to me anyway. But I've been
I
like
don't know.
decently surprised with him. I mean, not maybe not surprised, but like decently fine with his performance so far.
I Yeah, 7 points in 22 games for a fourth liner is about what you'd expect, maybe on the higher side. I mean, if you want to throw him in C tier, I think that's not the end of the world. Um,
Below Tucker.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that Matt in the chat makes a good point that like defensively he's still been
true.
decent. So like I think that earns him just a little bit of edge there. So I like bottom of C. All right, we got the head coach now. We're out of players. So this is our player tiers, and we're gonna wrap up here with some quick hits. I found a headshot from Monty's player days that I threw on his block for this one. So I think Jim Montgomery is still a great head coach. I'm not giving up hope on him, and I know the Blues aren't going to either. I think he's the guy for sure. But I think there have been a couple of head scratchers this year, like benching Kairu, among other things. So I'm not feeling great about Monty so far. But that doesn't like I don't really think that in any way spoils my view of him in the long term. So I mean I don't know, maybe another C tier for Monty.
I was thinking more B tier because
Okay.
um, just he is still like while the team has hit rock bottom. I don't know. I guess it is kind of hard to say otherwise, but I still believe in the coach that he is to yeah, maybe it is a C tier.
I could see like upper C tier just because like I feel like he has responded decently well to some of the struggles. Like from what I hear about practice, it's like they are like he's really pushing them and really grinding into these guys. Benching Kairu I think was the wrong move, but it was a like an attempt to try and get something going. Matt in the chat makes yet another good point that switching a lot of line changes and like lineup changes game to game. Maybe not the best idea. And then I just think he's given Buchnevich um, too much leeway. And look, I mean, like at some point you need Buchnevich to just figure it out, and maybe just continuing to play is the way to do that. But like at some point, like there has to be a limit. I feel like, and I don't know why we haven't seen a healthy scratch from him. And those are just some of the things that make me lean more C tier right now. But it's not all his fault necessarily that the team is struggling.
Yeah, I like C tier.
Okay, where do you like it in C tier? What do you think?
What do you think?
I think right around here is where I'd put him, between Shen and Tucker.
Sure, I think that's fair.
Cool. All right, Doug Armstrong up next, the GM. Hard to like, a little bit harder to assign a grade to. Like, doesn't have performance in the same way that we can measure. But there's a few things to look at, right? The Suter and Bukestad signings, the Mayu trade, and then his response to the team struggle so far. From what we've heard, he's he's listening on players, he's seeing what's out there, that kind of thing. I think doing his due diligence is kind of what you'd hope he would do. Um, I don't like. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like, I feel like people would point to the Mayu trade and say like this is a huge mistake. Armstrong is it's time for him to go. More or less like that. That could be a sentiment out there. I wouldn't really go there. Like I said earlier, it's going to take a long time potentially to truly evaluate this trade. Um, like, what more could you have asked him to do than deal from a position of strength to acquire a position of need for a guy that it wasn't just the Blues. Like a lot of people thought he was ready. Um, so like I don't know. I'm not feeling too harshly towards Army for that trade. Maybe it was the wrong one, but I just don't think we can tell yet. So I'm thinking maybe C tier for Army. But what are your thoughts?
I'm thinking either like bottom C, top of D. I think that people are going to be very quick to jump on Doug Armstrong. And it is true that he has failed at his job, that he's built a losing team here, and that's just an objective truth of this season so far. But I think a lot has also gone wrong for this team that Army and Co couldn't have predicted. That isn't totally on them. And then also like the Pia Suter signing has been such a resounding success that there's
Mm-hmm.
been some good there. And also the fact that he's listening on all trade offers, open for business, quote unquote, is I think a good sign too for doing his due diligence, like the due process, the correct way. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say bottom of C or top of D.
I I like bottom of C. Like I think we can put him there just because like look, he builds the roster for sure, and there are reasons to be upset with how he has done that. But like, who among us expected this? Like there's only so much he can do once they hit the ice. So, um, anyways,
I think that segues well into our next one.
for sure, yeah. Lastly, we're gonna uh, grade the Blues as a whole, and I think um, while I'm like feeling okay about Monty and Army, like not great, but like I don't think we can quite say the same for the Blues, and so I think they, given preseason expectations, are pretty solidly in D tier. Like, is there a case for anything else?
I think they're at the bottom.
The
I
very
think given
bottom.
preseason expectations, well, I was actually this is a little bit mean, but I was actually gonna put it like just above Mayu because I think Mayu has been like across the NHL, has his own subreddit level of bad, and the Blues are just like a bad team. But I
You want it right
that
there?
looks so mean.
That's
That's
pretty
so
funny.
mean. Just put it
That
at
is
the
pretty
bottom.
mean.
Just we can't do that to him.
I still believe in Mayu. I think
But it's kind of
it's really
true,
funny.
right? I don't know.
Let's just do it. Why not?
Okay.
I think it's something that can and probably will improve for both Mayu and the Blues as the season goes on and as time goes on. But um, I don't I don't know that we could say much else at this point. All right, that's our tiers list. As we said,
Not too hot.
not too hot so far. Holloway would be in B tier. Apologies again for missing that one, but that's what we're at. So if anyone has any thoughts on that, definitely let us know in the comments or in the chat. But hopefully the next quarter season will be better. I think our plan is to do a tiers list like this every quarter mark. So we'll be doing it again halfway through the season. Yeah, I think that about does it. We got Thanksgiving this week, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, and yeah, we at Note News hope everyone has a good holiday.
Despite the Blues' struggles, we are thankful to be covering them and doing what we do here. So thank you for your viewership.
Yes, absolutely. Thankful for everyone uh, in the Note News community for sure. We also, Alec and I are facing each other in fantasy hockey for the first time this week. And so that should be a fun one to track. We'll be back here next week to reveal the winner of that one. But anything to add on the Blues as a whole, Alec, before we wrap up here?
I think there's going to be a reckoning for this team, and they're gonna by the end of the season we'll have some fun hockey to watch. Whether that is too late, and the standings are too far apart for them to mean anything or not, I don't know. But I think this tier list is not going to be looking as bottom heavy as it does right now as the season goes on.
I think that is fair. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that turned out to be true. Um, your optimism inspires me, Alec. I'm hoping that now that I am officially out on the Blues, they will turn it around. At least that's what happened last year. So we'll see. To close out this week and to close out the month of November, the Blues wrap up their Northeast road trip in New Jersey tomorrow evening against the Devils, and then they come home for a couple games. They'll face Ottawa and Utah on Friday and Saturday. Yeah, so I mean, a stretch that hopefully they can get some points against, but some tougher opponents this week. So a good litmus test for a team that just seemingly can't get much going. But hopefully we'll have something fun to talk about next time, and maybe not have so many bummers of episodes. But yeah, I think that'll do it for us this time. Happy Thanksgiving. We will see everyone next time. If you haven't already, we'd appreciate if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the best way to help us out. Like this video, follow, rate, review on Spotify and Apple, and then follow us at Note News Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And as always, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.